Hello and welcome to Free Advice Friday. My name is Keri Ray Barnum for New Shelves Books, and we are here for Free Advice Friday, the hour where we talk about publishing, marketing, anything having to do with the business of being an author. You're welcome to join us live any Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, simply by going to newshelves.com/FAF. We do also accept emailed in questions. If you're not able to attend live, you can email those to info, at newshelves.com, and we do answer those, and the replays go up on YouTube. Just New Shelves Books on YouTube. So you can find us pretty much everywhere. We try to make it as convenient as possible. And we do have a couple of questions, both online live as well as emailed in. So we're going to jump right in. Let's see. One of Richard's questions is about the online platform Shepherd. So Shepherd is a platform that kind of tried to compete with Goodreads. The idea is that they ask that authors will review several books, and then in turn their book gets reviewed. So the idea behind it was to build up reviews, and it was kind of genius because they went to a motivated audience, authors who want their book reviewed, and they essentially said, will you review a couple books? In return, we're going to get your book reviewed on the site and listed. So they went to a motivated audience. The problem that I see here is not, I mean, it's no problem to have your book up on Shepherd. There's no problem to have it reviewed. But I will say, I think it's mostly populated by the writing community rather than readers. I don't think many readers are hanging out over there. I think it's mostly authors and writers who have reviewed books to get their books reviewed is mostly who's hanging out on there. It's a little bit, in my opinion, like Twitter for X, whatever it is, for the writing community has been a huge group. However, unless you're in specific niches like self-help, business, and news kind of political type things, selling a book on Twitter hasn't worked for a really long time, not for most people anyway, because while it's a large writers community, it's not necessarily a large reader community. And in my opinion, and we all know everyone has one, but in my opinion, Shepherd, there's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing bad, but I do think it's more populated by writers, authors, the writing community than readers. So I personally don't spend a lot of time there, but I don't think it's going to hurt you to participate or be active on that place. Let's see. Dan is asking, how do you change the account number on Amazon ads? I'm not quite sure what you mean, Dan, because the account number that's connected to your actual KDP account. So you can't change your account number, but if you're talking about your billing account, like your bank account or what credit card's connected, then if you go and you log in to the advertising account on Amazon, which is advertising.amazon.com. You log in with the same KDP and Amazon information used everywhere else. And when you do that, when you sign in, you pick your country. On the bottom left-hand side is a gear. And if you click on that gear, there's a pop-up, and the middle option is billing and payment, sponsored ads billing. And if you click on that, it will bring up your payment options. It will bring up your billing where you can look and see what you've been billed. You can look and see what credit card or bank account you have connected, and you can manage your payment settings there. So hopefully that fits what you were looking for that update. All right, Lawrence, I'm thinking of budgeting $300 to $400 a month on promotion. What would be the best promo outlets? Lawrence, if you could please tell us what genre your book or books are in and how many books you have, if they're in a series, that would help. One of the things that we look at is how we would go about promoting and marketing someone with a single title is a lot different than someone with a series. We would market a nonfiction book differently than a fiction, just slightly. I mean, there are still things, Facebook ads can work for a lot of different books. Amazon ads can work for a lot of different books. But where I would allocate budget and the things I might do change for fiction and nonfiction. For example, in my experience, nonfiction books, Amazon ads often will outperform Facebook ads. So I'd put more of my budget there. Whereas if we have a nonfiction title, Facebook ads can do a lot of great things and typically at a lower budget to start. So I would go there. So it really does depend more about your book. So if you want to drop that in the chat or put it in the Q&A and tell me more about your specific books, I'll give some thoughts on how I would spend that budget. In the meantime, we are going to jump over here and talk about, actually, I wanted to cover a couple of things just happening in the audio world. This time, it's not on Findaway Voices, a nice little change. However, it does encompass Spotify. So Spotify has recently launched, in the beginning of the year, they announced that paid subscribers would be getting 15 streaming hours of audiobooks. And I have personally seen clients who have gotten those streaming hours and have been paid by Spotify. So Spotify announced this 15 streaming hours per month for anyone who had paid for their subscription. And that's been in place for a while, but Spotify has just announced this month that they are now having an audiobook access tier that is just for audiobooks. It's not for everything. It's just audiobooks. It's $9.99 per month. Now, I do find it interesting that once again, it's not a credit like Audible or something like that. You get one credit that goes to one book. Doesn't matter which book. This is once again based on the listen hours. So for $9.99 per month, you can listen to 15 hours worth of audiobooks. Now, if that means your audiobook is 17 hours, you either have to wait till the next month or you have to buy more listening time. So I'm curious to see how that actually pans out for users. It was the one thing when it's rolled into something you already had and it's just extra, awesome. But to buy into a audiobook setting just for audiobooks based on listening hours that may not encompass an entire book in that 1 month payment, I'm curious to see how users feel about that. Conversely, if they have two books that are shorter, maybe they're nonfiction and they're 6 hours a piece, then they got two books in the month. So I think it will once again depend on the audience. I don't think they're going to capture the fantasy lovers who like, those books that are like 32 hours long. I'm listening to one right now. I don't think they'll necessarily get that audience, but maybe that's not the audience already listening to podcasts and things on Spotify. It'll be interesting to see. So that's new in the audiobook world. The other thing that a page count to hours knowledge. So the one thing about the page count to hours estimated, completely estimated, it's about 30 to 40 pages per finished hour typically for a audiobook, give or take. Some people read more, some people, read faster and some slower. It just really depends. So there's that. All right. And then the other audiobook news is that Brandon Sanderson has done it again. Gotta love that man. He doesn't know me yet, but I love him. Mostly because he is such a champion for authors, and I adore that he uses his platform for that. And I hear from a friend of a friend that he is wonderful, someone who does know him. So, Brandon Sanderson has once again gone to the table. He had gone to the table with Spotify, I think it was last year, to kind of work out better payment and terms for authors getting paid on audiobooks. And he had refused to put his books into Audible because of the low royalty payments, which is 25 if you're not exclusive and 40 if you're exclusive with Amazon and Audible. And so he'd worked out better terms with Spotify last year. Well, he's done it again. He's gone to the table with Audible and he has worked out terms not just for himself, but for all self-published authors. So some of the things, I don't have exact details, but some of the things that we should be able to look forward to are improved minimum royalty rates for indie audiobooks that are sold through Audible. So we know he asked for a 70% royalty, which is like what we get on ebooks, right? If you sell an ebook on Amazon or KDP and it's priced over $2.99, then you make 70% royalty. And he asked for 70%. He did not get 70%, but I have heard that it will be higher than what it was, the 25 and the 40. So we do have that to look forward to. Now, Audible, it has still said essentially that yes, people who go exclusive on Audible are still going to receive a better royalty than those who go non-exclusive, but they will be offering a improved minimum royalty rate for all audiobooks coming up, which is fantastic. They're also going to be changing their payment setting, and this is amazing. They used to pay quarterly. They are now moving this to where they will pay on a monthly basis. Now, they'll still pay in arrears, just like pretty much everyone does in the business, but they will pay monthly, which will be nice, especially for those who maybe earn a lot of their income off of their audiobooks. It also means that an author investing in audiobooks will be able to see kind of that recoup and see some of those finances come in quicker, which is always nice. The other thing is that Audible's system is going to pay more predictably for credit spent. Remember, I just talked about with Spotify, it's hours, but with Audible, it's a credit. So if I buy a book that's 32 hours, then it's one credit. If I buy a book that's 7 hours, it's one credit. And so they're going to pay more predictably and transparently. They're actually going to have a spreadsheet showing how they split up the money received. I believe it'll kind of be more like when the Kindle Unlimited page reads rates go out every month. I believe it'll be kind of closer to that. So it'll be a better way, not only better royalties, but we also will have some more transparency, which has been called for a long time in the business. So it's really nice to kind of see that. So it's really amazing that we have that opportunity. And again, I think Brandon Sanderson's just amazing. I think he's wonderful for what he's doing for self-published authors, not just helping himself, but others. So fantastic on that point. Let's see. Thank you all on the side chat. All right, back to Lawrence's question. So Lawrence has said, I'm thinking of budgeting 300 to 400 a month on promotion. What would be the best promo outlets? And he has updated to say that there are thrillers and mysteries. There are 3 series. You just made my little marketing heart so happy. 3 series, 2 are third person, 2 private eyes, and 1 spy. So it sounds like you're definitely in the thriller and mysteries, which means that you have a lot of opportunities here, and I love it. So if I was going to create a plan with, $300 to $400 a month on promotion, what I would probably spend it on is number 1, ads. Here's the thing. Publicity is wonderful. We talked with Marika last week, and publicity is wonderful. And I think it's something that we should always kind of be on the lookout for opportunities. But when it comes to book sales, when we actually want to drive those sales, I would focus on ads. So the first thing I would do is I would start marketing with ads and promote the first book in series. So if you have, I think you said you have 3 series. I would pick my most popular series. I would start with 1, my most popular series, the first book in the series, and I would start ads. I would start Facebook ads. You don't have to go crazy. Go $2 a day. Look, I'm going to have to start writing down because if I'm spending your theoretical money, I guess I better actually have an idea of what I'm spending how. So if we do $2 a day, for example, if I look down, it's because I'm mathing and it's really hard for me. So $2 a day on Facebook ads to start, that's $60 over the course of the average month with 30 days. Then at the same time, I would be doing $5 a day on Amazon ads for the first in series for your most popular series. And that is roughly $150 per month. So we're at $200 per month. I would start here, and I would start, even if you budget more, I would start here with this. And here's why. It gives you a chance to market on your most popular series. And once you get that reader, once you gain that reader, you can try to filter them in over to your other series that maybe aren't as well known, as well reviewed quite yet. So I'd start with the most popular series. The other thing I would do is actually a little bit of marketing, but it's also because you write fiction, especially, it's a little bit of work, but it's worth it. I promise. One of the first things I would do is I would take your most popular series. I would write a short story encompassing those characters, encompassing that world, whatever it may be. and I would write a short story. It can be 3 pages, it can be 50 pages. I don't care, but it must have a satisfied arc. It must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it must be something that someone who's already read your book will love. And it must be something that someone who's never heard of your series will love. So yeah, easy, right? And what I would do is I would write this short story so that you can start building your email list. And then once it's done, I would get a book funnel subscription with email integration. That's going to cost you $150 per year. So if we split that up, I'm just going to call that a yearly expense and not put it in this budget for purposes of this. $150. Now, if you go most mailing programs, ConvertKit, MailChimp, Constant Contact, they are free for your first couple hundred to 1,000 subscribers. So you don't have to worry about that yet. And I would take that short story and I would do a couple of things with it. Number one, I would put it up on BookFunnel and start doing book swaps and promos. This is where you put your book in a promo with other stories that are similar in genre, and you give away something for free. Now, in the back, when we're formatting the short story, in the back of it, we are obviously going to say, did you love Dave on his magnificent adventures? Be sure to continue them with book one of this magnificent series. Click here to buy on Amazon. Click here to buy wherever else. And we're actually going to not only use it to start getting email addresses, because that's how BookFunnel works. Someone has to pay with their email address and join your mailing list to get the short story. So you're first getting an email address of a potential customer that you can then market your other books in the series and other series too. But what you're also doing is you are feeding them these characters. You're making them fall in love with your story. And then you're leading them to the first book in series. And I would do that so that we're kind of doing that. So we're going to do some book swaps and promos. I will say the way book promos work is that everyone gets a tracking link and then you all have to promote. They track it to make sure that you're doing your part. So I would budget $20 a month for a Facebook ad that goes directly to that promo. This is separate from your other Facebook ads. So I do that. The other thing I would do with that short story, because it is something that can fit for your current readers who already read the series or book, or for someone else, I would take that same exact link. I would rework the back matter of your books, and I would pay attention to the back matter of your books no matter what, so that your back matter in each book links directly to the next book in series or another book that you own that's yours. And I would also, in the back matter, offer this free short story. Do you want to know how Dave and Frankie met? Be sure to grab this short story, which is taking your readers, your active readers, and putting them on your mailing list. So the next book in series comes out, you can tell them about it. You can ask them for a pre-order. You can do so many things with it. And it doesn't actually cost you anything other than just BookFunnel for $150 a month. And I'm sorry, $150 a year, and a little bit of time to write it. So then I would do something else with it. I would go and I would take another ad for $2 a day, which is another 60. I would take that short story that adds people to your email list, and I would promote it on Facebook just to your own freebie landing page. That's another $60 a month. So that gives us, look, again, mathing is hard, so give me a minute because I'm slow. I know it's terrifying, but I do get through life. So for $290 a month, which is an investment, I do want to say that up front, but $290 a month, you're able to run ads to your first book in series on Facebook and Amazon, getting new readers in that will hopefully read through your entire series, which is where you make your money if they read through the entire series. And then hopefully we've also put the back matter in the book where we grab their email address, because of course they want to know how Dave and Frankie met. So then you have their email address and you can market your other books to them, where hopefully you will make even more money and build those series so they have more reviews and they're more popular. You also have that book that short story and book funnel that will help build your mailing list of people who have never heard of you through the swaps to build your email list, as well as through the Facebook ads. So with $290, that's what I would do. And then as you start to see whether something's working or not, maybe those ads on that first book in series for your most popular series, maybe they're not doing very well. Well, then of course we want to look and see where the breakdown is. Is it pricing? Is our page converting? And that's a whole nother thing of, tracking data. But if it's not working, try your next most popular series and do basically that same thing. Or let's say it's wildly successful. It's just going really well. Well, number one, fantastic. Keep doing that. But you had said you budget up to $400. And if you're getting results, what I would then do is well, number one, you want to keep writing in that series or in that vein to keep your readers coming back, because that's how you actually make a profit as an author. But if you're seeing success with this form, I would then make one of two choices, or maybe both. I would increase my spend on either Amazon or Facebook, depending on which ad platform was giving me the most conversions and new readers. And or I would go to my next series and start to invest in ads there and start the same process. So eventually we would have a lead in for every series. Then you can cross promote and you soon become an author with an empire and you're rich and famous, and please don't forget me. But Lawrence, that's what I would do for someone who's got books like yours with a setup like yours. And then, of course, there are discount promos we can consider for first book in series. But the thing with discount promos is I do them maybe once or twice a year, but I don't recommend for the first full book in series giving it away too often, because when you do, I think it cheapens it a little bit. So maybe once or twice a year, you put in a couple $100 for that. But I wouldn't do it every month. So those those are my off the cuff ideas, and hopefully it gets your marketing, the brain kind of flowing with ideas. And we can certainly talk more. If you want to talk more about a marketing plan, you can always email me and we can set up a call and talk about it. All right. We have many endorsements for a new middle grade book for 8 to 15-year-olds. Most of the endorsements are aimed at the kids' teachers or counselors. Could this be a problem? I don't think so. I will say that middle grade books typically are not for 15-year-olds. When you're marketing, even though 15-year-olds may enjoy it, I would really narrow this down to a couple of years. Middle grade is typically going to be your 11 to maybe 10 to 13-year-olds, 11 to 13-year-olds. And I think that's really important, because if you go for too wide of a target, oftentimes you're trying to fit too wide of an audience, so you don't actually hit your ideal market because you're trying to be too inclusive. So I would narrow down to your ideal audience for marketing. And then as far as the endorsements, I don't think so, because here's the thing. Who's buying books? Who's recommending books? It's teachers, it's counselors, it's librarians, it's parents. But even if you're marketing to parents, if you're marketing to grandparents, who do they trust? Typically, we trust teachers, we trust counselors, we trust librarians. So I don't think it's a problem that most of your endorsements are from that sector. I think it's fantastic. Now, can you expand and ask a couple of parents and grandparents? Absolutely. Can you even, I will say, at this age range, finding a couple of kids who are willing to read and give you personal feedback on the book before you launch, I think is really valuable. So often when we think about beta readers, if we have an adult spicy romance, we're going to find someone who reads spicy romance. If we have a book on psychology, we're going to have other people kind of in that field read the book. When we think about beta readers or readers giving feedback on a book, yes, parents, psychologists, counselors, librarians, grandparents, their feedback is fantastic for children's books, but I think too often we overlook who we hope will read this book, the kids. And at middle grade, they're able to give feedback. So I would strongly recommend that you reach out to friends with kids, or maybe not your own kids, but friends with kids, if you can actually reach out to some of those teachers and say, we're looking for feedback or class feedback. Would you be interested in doing that? Have the kids give you feedback. Not only can they be typically used as quotes, depending, you'd have to be careful about how you say the kids' names and permissions and things, but not only that, but it gives you an idea of how kids feel about the book, because that's powerful to be able to say, tested on a class of fifth graders who adored this book. Here's a quote from their teacher. That's powerful, because I will tell you, sometimes a book that I think my kids should read, I think it's fabulous. They should read it. And they're like, Mom, this is boring. That is a real struggle with parenting and reading books. So if it's to be read by middle graders, I think that we should be getting feedback from middle graders prior to publishing. And if it's to be read by parents about middle graders, well, then we need those parents involved. So um, I think it just kind of depends. But is it a problem? No. Do you have more opportunity? Absolutely. Let's see. Richard is asking, how about a serial first chapters of the book being promoted? Charles Dickens did well with that. So I think you're asking specifically about just giving away the first chapter of a book, which used to be pretty popular for building mailing list and interest. And I will say, if you're putting in the back matter of your book, so if it's your own book and you're adding in the first chapter of a book, and saying, especially if it's a series, like if they read book one and then the book two first chapter, and then you say, hey, buy the rest of the book. Yes, that can work. But as far as building a mailing list based off of one chapter, a lot of people don't do it anymore because it's not a satisfying arc. It feels like a tease. It feels like I go to a taco truck and I order a big thing of tacos and I'm excited. And then I unwrap them and you take it away. And boy, I would be so upset. And I think that's how readers kind of feel, is that if it's just the first chapter, it was like a tease. It was like, but I'm hungry and now you're telling me I have to go pay. I didn't sign up for that. So that's why I think the short story is more satisfying. And that's why I said it must have an arc. It must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Because if I decide to go no further, I feel like I got my money or my email address worth. Whereas if whereas if I read a first chapter, nah, I'm not even interested. I don't even give you my email address, because if I love it, I still have to spend more money. If I don't love it, then I'm just annoyed. So that practice has fallen out unless, again, it's in the back of your own book leading to another book. And now everyone's craving tacos. You're welcome. We should I'm just going to visit all of you. And this is my plan for 2024. I'm going to visit each of you, try tacos in each of your hometowns, and then we'll have to compare at the end of 2024. I think I can write that off as a business expense, right? Probably, maybe not. All right. Back to an emailed question. All right. Oh, Bob made me laugh. I get an endless stream of emails from a popular provider whose name I shall not name, and guessing many here do too. I may give them my money just to get them to stop. How do you handle this? When you sign up for a program, when you sign up for new shelves, and I email you nonstop, or you sign up for the Fussy Librarian or Publisher Rocket or Hidden Gems, and you get emails constantly, whether they be sales emails, emails that are supposed to be helpful but are like driving towards something, or you're just annoyed. How do you handle that? So here's the thing, you can do it in a couple of ways. One little trick that I love to do is that if you don't want to unsubscribe, because number one, you can unsubscribe from emails at any time. No one is like sitting there crying in their soup because you unsubscribe from their email list. If it's not for you or it's too much, then it's cool. Like, it's fine. So you can always unsubscribe from the email list and not get those emails anymore if it's just annoying you. The other option is if you have FOMO, or if you're like, well, I find these emails helpful, I want to see them when I want to see them, but I do not need an email from you every day or every 2 days. It's obnoxious and you're filling up my inbox and stressing me out. One thing that you can do is you can create a rule. And a rule is like you train your email how to sort. So you can set up a folder in your email that is called whatever you want it to be. It can be the emails I might want to read sometimes. It can be, um, marketing emails. It can be maybe later. I don't care what you name it. Set up a folder. And then what you do, it could be a folder called tacos. And then it would really make you want to open it. So that's kind of brilliant. But so you set up this folder, and then what you do is when you get your next marketing email from these people, you create a rule saying that all emails from this email address will automatically go into the maybe later folder. So it's not cluttering up your inbox, but it's still there. And then if you want to check once a week, every 2 weeks, whatever it is, you want to go into this folder that's got all of the marketing emails that you didn't want to unsubscribe to, but you didn't really want in your inbox every day, then you can quickly skim through it a lot like you do your spam filter. Hopefully you go through and you check it every once in a while. Now we delete, delete, delete. Ooh, that one might be interesting. So you can kind of filter them out so they're not in your main inbox, but they're not gone. And that way you can kind of see them there. So that's something that you can certainly do. Um, I will say occasionally I get emails, literally emails that are like, hey, I love you, but I hate that you email so much. And I'm like, hey, cool, so sorry. I'll consider that. Does it change what I do? Sometimes, not all the time. Because I'm a rebel. I'm kidding. It's just because sometimes everyone's got opinions and everyone's welcome to unsubscribe. So I think those are kind of your best options. Unsubscribe if you're really just done. If you're not done, but you don't want to be seeing it every day, create a folder, create rules for those email addresses that puts it right into that folder. Check it once a week, checks it once a month. And that way you can quickly go through it and delete the things you don't want and then check on the things you do. So that's what I would recommend. Let me see. Oops. I'm like pushing random buttons over here. Oops. There we go. With audiobooks, is offering the first few chapters good and satisfying enough? People will need to order the full audiobook. And I have to say, I kind of feel the same way. Offering a sample allows us to see if the audiobook is worth listening to. It's why we have samples on all our sales platforms. But as far as an email list builder, I don't think so, because giving people our email, signing up for their email list is a form of payment now. And people don't want to pay for part of a product. So having a free sample on your website so people can hear what the narration sounds like, brilliant. It can lead to sales. But would I necessarily use that as my builder for my audiobook or for my email list? No, with one caveat. The caveat being, if it is maybe a nonfiction audiobook where the chapters really stand on their own. If there is something like that, a nonfiction book where you can isolate a chapter, maybe, I don't know, maybe you have a book on finances and you have a single chapter that talks about how to set up a budget, then yes, you could take just that chapter and give it away and say, here it is. In this chapter, you will learn how to set up a budget. If you also want to learn how to invest and how to do XYZ, then you can buy the whole book. That I think would work. But giving away like a chapter or a couple chapters to something that must continue, people will feel cheated. Typically, it leaves a bad taste in their mouth, and that doesn't make for a good customer. We want to give them something that feels satisfying and that they're not cheated. Yeah. Oh, you are right. You are right, Caroline. I need to email more. It's been a crazy couple of months over here at the Barnum household, but there are quite a few people who email 3 times a day, at least 3 times a week. Um, yeah, It's kind of crazy. And it is overwhelming. Like it's like anxiety in your inbox sometimes, I feel like. All right, let's see. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, so sorting those emails. I know it can be helpful. All right. Question. Eileen had this great question. I'm trying to book dates in the summer with some libraries and folklore museums in Vermont for an author talk. I sent an email to the museum and one library on March 6th. I haven't heard from them yet as of, I think it was March 12th. So it'd been just out a week. How long should I wait before following up? Would the best way to follow up be a phone call? So, um, give them at least 2 weeks before you follow up. Sometimes they're out of town, sometimes they're busy. At least 2 weeks before following up. And you can follow up just with an email, or you can follow up with a phone call. And if you do follow up with a phone call, it's fine to say, hi, I just wanted to check in. I'd sent an email, but I wanted to make sure I had the right person. I'm happy to forward that on to anyone in the organization. So if you do follow up by phone, I think it's very important that your follow up has the tone of, hey, I know you're busy. I wanted to make sure I had the right person. Excuse me, the right person, the right email. I'd love to chat with someone about this. And sometimes they'll say, "Oh yeah, that is me. Why don't you resend it?" And then it's on the top of the inbox, and your forward of your original email can say, "Hey Eileen, I'm so glad we were able to chat today. Here's the email I mentioned." And you're able to do it that way. Or then you have the power of, if it's going, you sent it to Eileen, but it should go to Fred, then you're going to send that email, and in the subject box, you are going to say, um, Eileen told me you are the best person to contact, in the subject box, because Fred's going to be like, oh, well, if Eileen said so. And then that's your opener. Hi, Fred. I spoke to Eileen at the museum today, and she said you would be the best person to contact about an author talk. Then you go into all of your information. Now, if you're just doing an email follow up, again, 2 weeks is probably a good time um, to do that for your initial follow up. And again, the email is going to be very friendly, very non-naggy. It is going to be, hey, Eileen, I emailed about 2 weeks ago. I know you're so busy. Just wanted to follow up before I reach out to other places in the community. If you are busy, would you just let me know if you're interested or not, so that I can either hold a place for you or not? So again, that can do that. And yes, Bob said a followed up email with a handwritten letter and a copy of the book is brilliant, especially for museums, because museums are a little bit different than libraries and bookstores. So sometimes giving them proof of concept, giving them the book, giving them an ARC, or just a copy of the book, but a handwritten note saying, hey, Eileen, I emailed you 2 weeks ago. I just wanted to send this along to see if you're interested. And that can be great as well. And yes, a lot of these places, museums especially, they want talks, they want different things, but they do book months in advance. So I think it's great that you're booking now for the summer, but they may already be booked. So um, oh, Bob is saying, I propose they consider doing a book fairy, a popular promotion in British museums. I don't know what a book fairy is, but I want one and I want to learn more about it. So, Bob, lead me in the direction of how to find out about a book fairy promotion, um, because now I'm all excited. Maybe I do know what it is and I've been calling it something else, but now I must know. I'm totally just imagining like little fairies in little fairy houses with books, because that's where my brain goes. And those fairies may be eating tacos. See, Molly's with me. She doesn't know what it is. All right. Well, while we think on that, the other thing I wanted to talk about, there was a question last week about a new announcement of a new type of, they say it's a new type of publisher, but essentially it's a new hybrid publisher. It was just announced. Publishers Weekly did an article on it. The publisher's name is Authors Equity. And the idea between authors equity is that it is a hybrid publisher where the authors will actually have equity in their book. So they'll have higher royalties, they will have more say. And it's essentially the idea is to treat authors better in the sense that they have to put some into creating the book, but they do get the help they need to create a professional looking book. They will have let me see, they will get higher royalties and more say in that kind of thing. And so the thing that makes this different with authors equity, the real big difference here is that it is coming with some heavy hitters. The former CEO of Penguin Random House, and it's mostly being staffed by Penguin Random House employees. So these are people coming from a background of traditional publishing and now going into hybrid publishing where they're saying authors are going to have more equity in it, but they're going to have all of the benefits essentially that those traditional publishers and those employees from traditional publishers bring to the table. So that is a new company out. How will it pan out? Well, we'll see. I do think Jane Friedman did quite an extensive article in her hot sheet, which highly recommend if you are not a subscriber of Jane's hot sheet. It's a fantastic industry newsletter. Our own Bob does a cartoon that goes into each of those, and it's a bi-weekly thing. But anyway, Jane did quite an extensive article with her thoughts on authors equity, kind of saying that yes, it's a hybrid, but essentially it's a service provider. It's in the essence, it's paying someone to help you create really professional looking books and then helping you publish. And of course you get higher royalties because pretty much were the publisher you put into it. And so it's an interesting thing. Now, Jane kind of did speculate that the people who are going to get into it will be the elite, that it's not going to be something that everyone can access. It's going to be kind of elite authors. It's going to be people who maybe have already been successful in traditional publishing who are moving over and just want more control or more royalties or profits. So it remains to be seen, but it is a new company. It's very exciting. And it looks like it will be something that is interesting. So it's still rolling out. We're still learning more information about it. And I know enough, but I don't know everything. So there was a article in Publishers Weekly. And again, Jane did quite an extensive article in it that I skimmed because I was low on time that day. And so that's interesting. The other question we had, this one is coming from Kim, and I wanted to make sure I spent, whoops, you over here just clicking buttons again. All right, this question from Kim was about doing a free promotion for an ebook. So first off, doing a free ebook, there are a couple of options. The most common or popular option is if your book's in Kindle Unlimited. You can set your book to free on Kindle Unlimited or on Kindle. It's not just for Kindle Unlimited readers. If you set it for free, it's on Amazon. And you can do that for up to 5 days per month, where you just give away your ebook for up to, oh my gosh, 5 days per 90-day period, not month, 5 days per 90-day period that you're in Kindle Select for Kindle Unlimited. So that is commonly used. And the reason why you'd give away a free ebook is to build a readership and reviews to get people into a series. If it's a first book in series, giving away the first book so that hopefully you get conversion and they read on to second and third. I do this all the time. I did it with a thriller book. Last week, we gave away, it's a standalone thriller. There's no series, but we still gave away that book through Kindle for 5 days. And the reason why we did it, number one, I just have to give a huge shout out that this thriller hadn't gotten a lot of attention before this, but we did a promotion. We promoted it in Fussy Librarian and Free Booksy. I think were the two we did. We might have done one more, but this ebook was downloaded over 6,000 times. I want to say it was closer to 7,000 or 8,000. Thousands of downloads with just a little bit of investment. And so why would we give away this ebook? Why would we do that? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, it was huge exposure for this author who's been trying really hard to get readers over to the book. Number two, they've already got more reviews. They've already got like 10 more reviews, and the promotion just ended the beginning of this week. So in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we hope for a lot more ratings and reviews. And we've talked about before the importance of having ratings and reviews on your Amazon sales page. And so this author went from having less than 30 reviews to hopefully they'll hit that 50 mark where they can be included in email promotions with Amazon and different things like that. Also, because the book is on Kindle Unlimited, the way it works is that when someone goes to download a book that, even if it's free on Amazon, but they're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, Amazon gives a pop-up and it goes, "Oh, don't buy the book. It's free on Kindle Unlimited. You should download it." So some people will bypass that and still buy the book at free, but a lot of others will just download on Kindle Unlimited. So this author has seen a huge increase and steady increase of page reads, and she's still getting paid on those page reads. So we're increasing awareness of the book, increasing reviews for the book. We are also getting more page reads, which she'll get paid on. And then we're hoping to trade on all the algorithms on those reviews and the sales and the page reads. We're hoping to trade on those later on down the road with other ads and promotions and other books that she'll write. So Kindle Unlimited is one way to do that. However, if you are looking for a longer to set your book to perma-free, or you're looking for a longer promotion, or like another client of mine, Sam has a ebook that is wide. So it's on Amazon, but it's also up on Draft to Digital and iBooks and Kobo and all those places. And she got a free BookBub featured promotion. We're very excited. Happens tomorrow. So we needed Amazon to set her book for free, but she's not in Kindle Unlimited. So how did we handle that? Number one, we first went about a week. We did it last weekend. I went to the other platforms, Draft to Digital, and we set her book, her ebook for free on that platform so that it was free on iBooks and Kobo and Barnes and Noble. And then once it hit free on those platforms, I contacted through her account, I contacted KDP and I asked them to price match to 0. I said, we have a free BookBub deal coming up at the end of this week. The book is already at for free. It's set at 0 on iBooks, Kobo, and Barnes and Noble. Here are the links. It's required that you actually show proof the book is free somewhere else. And I said, will you please price match for this promotion? Thank you so much. It took them 5 days and a reminder. They had to actually check it, but they did set the book to free. So now it's free on Amazon and everywhere else. And so essentially we used a price match to make them go down to 0, and they did that. And then when the book goes back up to normal price on all the other outlets, Amazon will probably naturally follow suit, but we will, because she wants to make profit on those book sales, obviously, we will then go back and ask them to increase the price to normal because that promotion will be over. Now, the thing is that if you want to do this with a Kindle Unlimited book, there is no price match option. So if you want to do a Kindle Unlimited free discount promotion, you're pretty much stuck within those 5 days. You can't do a perma-free or a lengthy free promotion if your book's in Kindle Unlimited because it doesn't work with their terms. So hopefully that kind of helps explain the options for a free promotion if you're Kindle Unlimited or wide. And hopefully that clears some things up for you there. Let me see. Well, yeah, and that's fantastic. I mean, getting a couple hundred downloads is amazing. And sometimes it happens naturally. That book I told you we have a BookBub featured free promo on. The promo starts tomorrow, but the book has been free on Draft to Digital since the 7th, and it's been free on Amazon for the last 2 days. The book has already gotten, I think, about 75 downloads through Draft to Digital. And then on Amazon, no promotion, no marketing, just putting the book to free on Amazon for the last 2 days, it's gotten over 400 downloads. So sometimes it just happens really easily. Sometimes we have to promote it. But it can be a fantastic little bump if you're doing it with purpose. Let's see. What's the threshold number of reviews on Amazon that has a way of getting your book noticed, either by Amazon or prospective buyers? So typically 15 reviews is the bare minimum that brings in reader trust. So I don't even run ads for a book until it has 15 reviews typically. That's the bare minimum, 15. After 15, our goal is to hit 50 reviews. And the reason why is because at 50 reviews, your book is eligible for Amazon's email marketing. Now, this is not anything you pay up for, sign up for. It just means once a book hits 50 reviews, Amazon, especially if they're more positive than negative, Amazon's algorithms kick in and say, okay, this book is popular enough and trustworthy enough that it can be put into the circulation for also bought. So if I'm buying a book that's similar to that book, it may email me and say, hey, you may like this book, or it may put a notification on my Kindle for that at 50 reviews. Now, it has not been confirmed by Amazon. However, many authors will tell you, you will also see an algorithm and trust bump at after 50, 100, 300, 500, 700, 1,000 is when you tend to see those big kind of algorithm and social proof and trust bumps. So it's crazy. All right, let's see. Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. I know my math challengedness, but it's all good. Um, So I think it's all good. All right, you guys. I think that's it. I know there are some questions in the chat. And I was trying to look back and see if it was questions or just hanging out. Yes. Yes, authors equity. James Clear, Louise Penny. Yes, the people investing in authors equity are pretty much successful authors. They're people who've already kind of made it. So it's very interesting. Yes, work for 50 reviews. First 15, make that goal, celebrate that goal. And then 50 reviews is your next big goal. And we've talked about this and I stand by it. We never stop pushing and asking for reviews because they will always help us. We always ask for reviews. Having consistent reviews is fantastic. Yay, 55 reviews. So that is amazing. Amazing, amazing. Yeah, don't give up, you guys. It can be hard. It can be a journey, but keep on. All right, you guys, it's 11 o'clock. I have to run. Thank you for being here. I will be back next weekend, next Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, same place, same time. Again, if you can't join us live, email in your questions to info@newshelves.com and I'll answer it and our replays go up on YouTube. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Be well, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.